Hi and welcome to the FreeFormKnits YouTube channel. I'm Haxann Evers, a Knit and Crochet who's free from ways of crafting that have led to the world of design. All the places you can find me will be listed down below this video. Thank you so much for stopping by and crafting with me today. We are Monday, October 3rd or 4th. We're in October. That's so weird. It's officially fall. It's been officially fall, but it's just funny that we're in October. I don't know. It's always funny time. That's the thing. If you're a returning viewer, then you know the angle is a little bit different due to the slight bug incident of last week's podcast. I kind of just want to be not sitting on the floor. It's fine, it's just better. And the angle and lighting is hopefully cooperating. So this is what we're going with. I have one finished object, yes, and some whips, a lot of new whips to talk about. So let's just get right into it. Like I said, all of the places you can find me will list down below this video, and including links to any patterns I mention. So let's get started. The only finished object this week is this shawl. This was I was just starting it last week. This is my granny striped shawl pattern that will be coming soon. It's going to be a free pattern on my blog along with a video tutorial here on YouTube. And this version is done in worsted weight, just with a bunch of scraps. And I just kind of stuck with all my purplish, pinkish scraps, and I love it so much. It's really nice. I kind of, all of these three colors were the Knit Picks Brava worsted that I designed my Beyond the Double collection out of, so it was really fun to use those. And there was just some scraps. I do have, this is the same color as this that I was supposed to do at the same time as here. I put in my project bag for that, but I've forgotten, so I just threw it in, and I only made like half a stripe on one side of the shawl, which is fine because it's just a scrappy shawl. It's fine. And then the color I ended with, I actually just decided I was done. I had used up the scraps. I had this big ball of this really rough acrylic in my stash, and I have a lot left, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I just didn't want to be working on this anymore. It's not a fun acrylic to work with. I don't know, it's just like an old skein that someone gave me because I had it hanging around. And that's what I used at the end here. So not a very pretty yarn, and it was kind of annoying to work with. It's very like rough and plasticky. But yes, the shawl. I have to get, well, I have the photos of my original sample, so I should probably get some photos of this, and that will hopefully be coming soon. So keep in lookout for that. I crocheted this worsted weight version on a 5.5, no, just a 5mm hook, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's what I used. The sample in the pattern was made out of finger and weight cotton, like self-striping, yarn bee, color wheel something. I don't remember. It's in the pattern. But this version I just used up a lot of little bits of worsted scraps. So that was a really fun, quick project, and kind of got me started on a crochet shawl kick. So we'll get into that though. That's my only finished object, so I guess moving into whips, we'll talk about that crochet shawl whip. So this is a new whip for me. I have noticed on my channel, I have a pattern, a collection of patterns in my Ravelry. I designed 4 crochet shawl constructions. I designed this in December of last year, and it's just instructions on how to make 4 very basic crochet shawl shapes. In the collection there's asymmetrical, there's top-down triangle, tip-to-tip, and crescent. The PDF booklet it's just a booklet. It just tells you how to make make the shawl shapes, how to start them, and then maintain the shaping, because that's something I've noticed that is kind of lacking with crochet. It's really, I found it easier to figure out different knitted shawl shapes than figuring out different crochet shawl shapes. So that's the reason I designed that collection. And I actually have full video tutorials here on my channel walking you through those shapes, and then you can also purchase the PDF collection in my Ravelry shop. But all that to say is that I've noticed that those videos, they're doing very well, especially my crochet crescent shawl. Like, that's probably my highest viewing video. It's got over 400 views, and I've just been looking at it and just thinking I've never got around to making a full shawl in that shape, like properly. Like I figured out the formula for it, but I haven't made a full shawl in that shape, or at least one that I haven't ripped out. That's the truth of it all. I start them and then think I'm done doing this. But I was kind of in the mood for another shawl. That granny strip shawl worked up so fast, and it was just really great to use up that yarn and not having it sitting around, and so that's why I started this whip. Here is the whip in question. It is going very well and I love it. So this is using the crescent formula in my 4 crochet shawl constructions, but I did add, I'm doing this like eyelet stitch just because I felt like it. I don't know, I just saw it and it's working out really fast and it's so pretty and I'm kind of in love with it, which I'm surprised that I love it so much because I'm using 2 yarns in my stash that I've had in my stash for what feels like forever. One of them really like multiple years, and that I just wanted to use up. I was tired of just sitting there looking at it, starting projects with it, and then realizing I didn't like it. So the yarns in question are, I'm using, let me show you, I'm using 1 strand of Yarn Bee's Soft and Sleek DK that I originally purchased for socks, but I don't like it for socks. Maybe it's just me wearing through my socks very fast. I just any socks I make in this, they don't hold up. I'm not sure why, considering I think it's just an acrylic blend, just an acrylic, but I've made like worsted weight socks in acrylic and those have hold up, so I'm not sure why I just wear through these so fast, but that's why they're sitting. Quite a bit of it is sitting in my stash, and I just wanted to use it up. And then this yarn I've had for over 4 years, which is long for me because I have a good stash of yarn, but I usually don't leave things laying in my stash. I'm either going to use it or I'm going to get rid of it, and 4 years is kind of a lot. So I had this yarn. I'm not sure how I first got it, but I had quite a bit of it and I decided to make a sweater. I ran out of yarn for the sweater. I bought more yarn for the sweater. Still ran out of yarn for the sweater because I think the yardage of this yarn, I think it's a Yarn Bee yarn. It's kind of like this, I don't know how to call it, like it's very fuzzy, which kind of irritates me a little bit. Like I find working on this for a long time, it's like the flyaways and everything, I don't know, but I don't enjoy it. And the project I started with this yarn and then had to buy more yarn for, and then had to get more yarn for because the yardage is not great on this. I just didn't have enough to finish that project, and I never found the right yarn again. I think I had it in my stash for so long I forgot what it was. I just never could find the right yarn again, and eventually I ripped that project out and I've just had these big balls of yarn that I don't like sitting in my stash. And so holding these 2 yarns that I don't like together has somehow managed to produce the shawl that I really love. Like, I don't know if I could wear it because of the fuzziness, but I'm enjoying working on it. It's so nice. I'm holding these yarns double and I'm using a 6mm hook, which is kind of like my favorite hook right now. And yeah, it's going really great. I love it. I just love this shawl shape. And it's not quite long enough yet. I thought I was done, but not quite. I think I'm gonna I have more of this yarn. I have like one really big ball. I'm staring at it right now in my stash of the gray, and a whole nother cake of the same yarn. It's definitely the same brand. It might be a different shade of blue, so I don't know, but I'm probably gonna definitely use that up. And yeah, it's really nice. It's kind of showing up a little bit dustier on the screen than it is. It's a little more, I guess that's kind of accurate, but it's really fun. The eyelets they're kind of similar to my bridge cowl that I have. That's my design, the bridge cowl, but in the Beyond the Double collection, but not quite. It's just the eyelets and double crochet. In the bridge cowl, there's some other stuff going on there. And I originally started the shawl trying to get the eyelets to be like perfectly like alternating, but that did not go well. So eventually I just gave up and I'm just doing the same thing every row, not thinking about them, and now they're kind of like this diagonal, which I really love. So yeah, if you want to learn how to do crochet a crescent shawl, crochet a crescent shawl shape, there's a tongue twister, you can find the tutorial on my YouTube channel, and you can purchase the Beyond the Double collection in my Ravelry shop. I'll have a link to my Ravelry shop in the show notes in the down bar below. So yeah, that's this shawl. I think that's the cure for any sort of project block or any sort of, like, you got 2 yarns you don't like in your stash, hold on double, crochet a shawl, knit a shawl, big gauge. It really just, it changes things. It's really nice, and I really do love this project, though I will admit I'm a little disappointed it's not big enough to be like a proper shawl, but that just means I'll use up more of that yarn I want out of my stash, so that's okay. I'm ready to add new skeins, I think, almost, just like probably another row, and then I can add the new skeins, so that's that project. I guess we'll just stick with the crochet theme before we get into the knitting. So I think last week I said that I ran out of yarn for my Cafe Au Lait cardigan, and I thought I did. As I was editing the podcast, I'm editing the podcast and I'm, you know, watching it through, you know, editing, and I see on my shelf, I'm like, is that another skein? And it was. I thought I had used all 4 skeins I had. I'd only used 3. So I had another skein in my stash of this colorway. So here's the cardigan. This is the Cafe Au Lait cardigan by Hooked on Homemade Happiness, and I did the body. I started the bottom ribbing. I have to do the collar. It's not a collar, yeah, the collar, but I had this other skein, so I decided to split the skein in half, and I got almost a whole sleeve done. Almost a full sleeve done. The yarn I'm using for this project is Yarn Bee ID, which is 142 grams per ball. So with 70, I think it ended up being 72 grams because the ball was a bit heavy. I know, so it wasn't exactly right. Like, I had a little bit more yardage. It almost got me a full sleeve, so I can crochet the other sleeve, but I will say I did go to Hobby Lobby today, mostly to get more yarn for this project so I could finish it. Guess of the one colorway they did not have the rose water colorway, which is understandable. It's a beautiful colorway, but I was really upset because it's really the big thing I wanted to go to Hobby Lobby for. I got other yarn, don't worry, but yeah, this project won't be getting done as soon as I would like, which is very disappointing because it's gorgeous. It really is gorgeous. I love it so much. If you decide to make the Cafe Au Lait cardigan, understand that it is done from side to side. That's all I can say. Go back to the podcast episodes if you want to know the full story of that, but it's a side-to-side cardigan. You crochet the body side to side, then you do the collar and sleeves. It's really great. I love it. And I also crocheted this on a 6mm hook, which is also why I'm kind of running low on yarn. Not low on yarn. I had 4 skeins, but I'm going to need at least 5, possibly 6. I might have to break into a 6th skein. So I need to get at least 1 more, possibly 2 more skeins. And yeah, this is going to be a while till it's done, which is sad because it's beautiful and it's getting to the weather where I'm going to want a perfect, loose, comfy cardigan like this. But that's okay. I'm kind of not motivated to start the 2nd sleeve because of that, though I probably should before I forget how to do it. Because one thing I will say about this pattern, the sleeve instructions, they're not the best. Like, I feel like it could have been done more in detail. Like, she doesn't give you a specific number of sleeve stitches to pick up. You just have to make sure it's a certain moldable. And I don't know, but it's okay. And I'm not motivated to do the 2nd sleeve because I can't finish the cardigan, but I should at least write down what I did for the sleeve. Yeah, I should do that before I forget. So that's that project. Okay, the next whip is not actually going to be a whip anymore. And I know what you're going to say. I'm ripping out something else. So last week I talked about this everyday cardigan sweater that I was knitting. Everyday pullover sweater. I think that's what it's called. I'll have it on the screen. I was making and talked about how I was a little bit worried about it, but I was going to keep going with it. Well, I'm ripping it out, not because I don't think it would be okay, but it's just not what I envisioned. I'm making this sweater hopefully to be a Christmas gift for my 4-year-old cousin, and it's not bad, but it's not what I envisioned for him, for his gift. So that's why I'm ripping it out. And here is the cardigan the sweater in question. It's really cute. It's really pretty, but I think the sleeve is huge. Like, my arm could fit through this sleeve, and she doesn't call for any dramatic decreasing. I think it's just not really, my problem with it is the yoke is just very, you know, this is, you get the same number of stitches for the front, the back, and the sleeves. And I think just for the bigger sizes, the 2 biggest sizes she has in the pattern, I'm knitting the second to largest, it just makes for this really big sleeve. And it's not bad, it's not terrible, like it would be okay, but it's just not what I envisioned for the gift sweater. I also did, this is sad, I'm thinking about how I'm gonna have to rip this out. I did undo the collar and did a, like, this was blue in 2x2 rib. I undid it and did it gray in 1x1 rib, but it's just not what I envisioned to gift. So that's why I'm gonna rip it out. I'm gonna reclaim this yarn. If I had not intended for this to be a gift, I probably would keep it going and just save it to gift to someone else who I didn't have a specific in mind of what I wanted their sweater to look like. But because it is a gift, I'm going to rip it out. I don't know when I'm going to rip it out, because I might use different yarn for the sweater, just because I'm a little disheartened at myself with this. But because I don't have anyone else to gift it to, that's why I'm ripping it out. It's a good pattern. It's so pretty. It's cute. But yeah, it's gotta go. It's just a bit of, not a fail, but not what I originally intended. So that's why I'm gonna rip it out. It's okay. I don't know when I'm gonna rip it out, because like I said, I might use different yarn just because I'm disheartened at this yarn. And oh, my necklace is caught on it. I did weave in my ends. That was good. I wove in all my ends, and that's gonna be annoying to rip out with the ends woven in. The yarn I used for this was, the blue is Yarn Bee ID in the Bluestone colorway, and the gray that I striped for the yoke is I Love This Yarn in light gray. So just worsted weight. I think I was using a 9. So yeah, I'm gonna rip this out. I already took the needles out and everything. But yeah, it's okay. I'll find a project that's gonna meet what I want it to do. You know, it's a very nice sweater, but just not what I had in mind. So yeah. The next 2 whips I have to talk about are both sock whips, and the first one was a whip last time. It's in my little sock bag here. And it is my Princess Cuff Shorties pattern that's coming soon. So not much progress has happened on this. I did sew down my edging and did turn my heel, so my shortcut heel and stockinette. So I think I finished the gusset, maybe, I don't remember. But it's just cruising along on it. Everything is almost ready to go for testing for this pattern. I think, yeah, I have to check everything, but I'm pretty sure I'm almost ready for testers. If you ever want to be included in any of my test knits, I actually have a email list specifically for test knits. Signing up to the email list, all that means is that every time I'm looking for testers, you'll get an email telling you about the test and directing you to the Ravelry group where the test will be being held. Signing up to the email list does not mean you have to agree to every single test. It just means that you will get a direct notification about a test happening, and if you want to join in, you can. If you don't, you can just delete the email. That's all it is. So if you ever want to be aware of tests, you can sign up to that. I'll have a link to that, especially for this one. This one will be ready for testers soon, as will a couple of other patterns. So if you're interested, sign up below. The yarn I'm using for this sock is Knit Pig Stroll Tonal in the Mocha colorway. Just a scrap of a different pair of socks I knit. And yeah, I'm using my ChowGoo 40-inch red lace needles, US 2.75mm needle. That's what I use for my socks, which I think is a bit bigger than what everyone else uses for their socks, but I really like the fabric it gives. So that's my current fingering weight sock whip. Finger weight socks have been kind of slow for me recently because I've talked about this before. I don't have a lot of fingering weight yarn in my stash, so I'm kind of just very slow with finger weight yarn. I have only little bits to make single socks, not a full pair, or at least not without some careful planning on my part. But that's the one I have going. And the next whip is also a sock, but it is not fingering weight, it is worsted. So the yarn I'm using is, I believe this was Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek no, that's not the brand, soft, low pill fiber. I don't know the colorway. I've had this for a long time. It was originally a big project of mine, but I unraveled it to reclaim the yarn because I wasn't using that finished object. It was actually a crochet shawl. So I'm just thinking of that with my crescent shawl. It was actually, I think, my first attempt at a crescent, that shawl. But I never wore it, so I decided to take the yarn back, and it's this really pretty red and bronze and very nice. So the sock I am knitting, I'm using US 8 needles, magic loop, that's how I like to knit in the round. And this is actually pretty much the same place as my finger weight sock. I was originally going to do a fake cable sock, like all the way through, but decided I wasn't in the mood for that. So I am now doing vanilla for the foot. And it's got actually a German short row heel because I was feeling lazy. I haven't graded my shortcut heel for worsted weight yarn. It's not that it would be hard to do, it's just that I don't feel like doing it at the moment. So the German short row was just easy to do at spur of the moment. And yeah, it's really pretty, but just some plain vanilla knitting. It's kind of, my plain knitting has kind of been that crochet shawl, so I haven't picked up these socks in a while, but maybe that'll change this week. So I think Sunday is the day that I just have to cast on something new, or several things new, because I think all these projects were started on Sunday. No, Saturday. I don't know, the weekend, you never can tell. I just feel like I have to cast on new things. So this is this project, and just also in a bag made by me. Little bunnies and a pink inside. Very nice. My first, or maybe my second successful drawstring bag. And I really love it. I love how easy it was to do, because drawstring bags and me have not been friends in the past. Those are all my current works in progress. I do have some things I am also planning to cast on, but I think I'll refrain from talking about them here just because it's probably best if I do. I'll go on a long time. A lot of things I want to cast on, but I'm gonna save it until they're actually works in progress, which hopefully there won't be until I finish some other things. So really, like, the thing I'm really itching to cast on is another sweater, another child sweater. A different one. I'm gonna take a break from the intended recipient of the first sweater I was making and gonna make a different one, and it should go smoother, so I'll hopefully start that soon. I have the right to start that. I don't like having too many whips at the time. I kind of like having a sock, a sweater, a small project, and a good crochet project, and I have 2 socks. I don't have a sweater. I have a good crochet project. I do actually have another whip or several whips. Like, they're not really technically started, but they're very small, and I'm going to make a separate video about them that you'll see sometime later this month. So I'm not going to talk about those either. Yeah. I'm just rambling now. I think that's everything I have to share with you this week. I am posting to YouTube. I was originally posting 3 times a week. I think I'm going to switch it to 2 times, maybe, and maybe there'll be a special video sometime. It's that crazy time of year where, you know, fall, things are changing, people have new schedules, and just trying to figure out what works for me. I think I'm going to sign off here. Thank you so much for stopping by and crafting with me today. If you could take a moment to comment down below what is a whip you're working on right now. I would love to hear about it. I love hearing about other people's works in progress. Be sure to use the links below to sign up for my newsletter and to follow me on Instagram at the Freeform Knitter. It's where it's pretty much my only social media platform. I'm doing my best to post over there and share more updates on my whips and designs. That's everything to this video. Thank you so much for stopping by and crafting with me today. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Happy crafting!